Hello, and welcome to this session about ethical use of AI tools in research and academia. This was presented at Dubai AI Week in April 2025 on behalf of Women in AI UAE. So I'm presenting it again for YouTube and put it online. So hopefully you guys can benefit from it and learn something as well about how to use AI tools ethically within academia. Please scan the code in the corner if you want to reach out to me and access all of my social media accounts and other accounts online. So I really wanted to focus on this first question, and I want you to take a moment to think, what would you do if your research partner turned out to be an AI tool? You're probably thinking that's not ethical, that's not okay. But actually, lots of us right now are using AI tools like the one that you can see on screen. There are so many of them. I've tested out hundreds and hundreds through the work that I do online and consulting with these AI companies. And actually, most of us are using these tools as an AI assistant, as a research partner without even knowing it. If you're using a tool that's helping you find research papers and understand literature, then that's going to be a job that maybe a research assistant would have done, or someone that's working for you, or just another human would have done this. But now we're requesting these services to AI tools. And so actually, we all have research partners which are these AI tools. And this is something that's going to be, we're going to build on a little bit more to see how can we use them ethically. Now, I wanted to hone in a little bit on these four. So, these are AI search engines for research articles. So, instead of using Google Scholar or PubMed, you might use SciSpace, you might use Cite, Elicit, Consensus. These are all tools where you can plug in your research question, you plug in the gap in literature, your keywords, and it'll come up with a whole table complete with research papers that are appropriate, with the gap in literature, the limitations of each paper, the methods of each paper, and a full breakdown of the literature library that you should be reading to know more about your topic. Is this cheating? Is this ethical? Is it not? We'll look at a little bit more in this presentation, but spoiler, I think it's allowed. And universities are also agreeing that using tools like this is completely ethical, and students should be shown and researchers should understand how to use this. Now, when I look at the stats, it's quite stark. 92% of students use AI in education in some capacity. So this could be for explaining concepts, summarizing articles, research ideas, but a small percentage, a naughty percentage, are still using it for assignments. I say small. Most people are using it for assignments, but I'm saying the ones that are copying and pasting, the ones that are just taking the information and adding it into their own writing, that is a smaller percentage because people are more aware now of the danger and the ethical concerns with using it for assignments. But in academia, things are still a little bit behind. So 46% of academics use AI in research, according to this statistic. They're using it for literature reviews, for summarizing articles, citations, writing, and editing. Now, I post on LinkedIn quite often, and I usually get a bit of hate from older academics who fall into this, remaining percentage, the 54%, who are not using AI in research, who still believe that it's cheating, it's unethical, it's plagiarism. There's still a massive group of people, specifically academics, who are, I can't blame them. They've been around for a while, they've used traditional methods, and now all of a sudden, we're saying use this tool that will scan 100 research papers in 5 minutes and give you X information. Of course, you'll be a bit dubious of that as well. But this is a new recommendation. It's a new development in academia and in the world completely. So this does have to change a little bit, and it will change. But there are ethical concerns. that are very valid. So, as I mentioned, plagiarism, ethical use, but more specifically, over reliance on AI is a really big one that I think academics and students in particular need to be concerned about. Accessibility, equity, lack of training for the educators that are going to be using these tools. Privacy and data security is a really big one, and academic integrity as well. But in today's session, I wanted to focus a little bit more on the impact on creativity and critical thinking, and how can we balance this out? How can we allow students, researchers, and academics to use AI tools whilst maintaining a critical mind, whilst still allowing them to, like, use it ethically, without banning it. If we stop our students from using AI, then we're removing a very important skill that they will be asked about, and they'll actually need in the workplace. I was speaking to a friend recently who had lost out on a job in accounting because she didn't have the skills, the AI skills needed for the job, and they wanted someone who already had those AI skills. And that was the only difference. She has the accounting qualification, but not the AI skills. And I think this is a really big and shocking a difference that people are going to be looking at more and more. So, just to introduce myself, because I know that I haven't so far, my name is Dr. Amina, and I am both an academic but also a YouTuber and content creator. And I've been doing YouTube now for nearly 9 years now, since the start of my PhD. And at the time, I was showcasing my PhD, and I was showcasing all the things that people don't usually see in the inside of a research lab. And then I ended up starting my own business called The Page Doctor, which is an academic consultancy that links up PhD researchers to students who want support. And in the last couple of years since the release of AI, I've pivoted slightly into speaking about AI a bit more in academia and how to use it ethically in education. I've almost got 400. I've actually got 383,000 now, which is amazing, grown really fast, and yeah, growing very fast actually in the recent couple of months. So please join and check out my videos if you want to see more. Now, there's something that's called the AI education paradox that I realized when doing this work. There's two sides to this coin. AI enhances learning. We know that it's a great tool, provides feedback, assists with research, great for students that might have English as a second language. Overall, it's a great tool, but it can undermine learning. It can result in students passively accepting answers, weakening their deep thinking and problem solving skills. And it could just result in students and researchers accepting information that is actually misinformation, that has biases within it. And there's a gray area where we want these students to use it to learn, but we also want them to be able to be a good learner. And how can they do that with AI? So there's two words that you might think about, and if you're watching this video, you're probably going to fall upon one of these two categories. Do you think AI is assisting or an assistance, versus do you think AI is cheating? Do you think AI causes the user to cheat through its use? Please leave me a comment. I would love to hear what your opinion is, because I think overwhelmingly people now do think it's assistance, but there is still a large party within academia and education that thinks that use of AI is cheating. As you can probably guess, I skew more towards assistance, but I definitely know that there are instances where this line is very thin, and you can use a tool thinking that you're using it to assist you, but actually you're using it in a way that's cheating. And in this session, I'm going to be going through a few use cases where I'll look at how you can use AI tools and the difference between learning and assisting versus cheating. So the first one is using AI for a literature search or for trying to find the gap in literature. So you might use a tool like SciSpace, and you can see here on the screen, and I have many videos about this topic as well, where you can type in a question, a keyword, a subject, and then it will give you a list of papers, a long list of papers with the summary, the results, the keywords, the limitations, and any other column that you'd like. You can get it all in one place. And this helps you to find a literature gap. It helps you to write a strong research question. It also helps you to identify trends and patterns in a way that would have taken you a lot longer to do in the past. So, where is the line for cheating? Well, let's say, for example, you're doing a systematic review and you're using a tool like SciSpace to find your papers. You need to include that as part of your methods. You need to say that part of my methods to be able to collate and identify the research papers, I used SciSpace to find 20 research papers. I then selected and filtered them by doing X, Y, and Z. I read them, I looked at the dates, whatever other information you need to include. But if you don't disclose this, this can be considered as cheating. Also, blindly trusting AI outputs. This is where you're just saying, right, okay, I've got these 10 papers, fab, let me stick them into my thesis or into my research paper without making sure and verifying that they do match up to your question without actually reading them. Citing anything without reading it is obviously a no-no. Or submitting any text that's given to you verbatim as your own. So if you look at the text here on the screen, if I were to copy that summary and put that into my own text, that is of course not allowed, and that's cheating. Number two is using AI to understand research papers. This is one of the best use cases of AI now for academia and education. So you have Anara, you have SciSpace also does it, PaperPal, Homata. There are a ton of academic AI platforms that can be used to understand research papers. So all you do here is upload a research paper, you ask any question about the research paper. What were the methods? What are the key results? Give me a comparison between X and Y. Explain this, describe that. Anything you can ask to these tools. You can also translate them, get a brief summary, explain complex terms. This is completely allowed. This is something that you would have done alongside a supervisor or someone else within your group pre AI. Now, where is it cheating? It's cheating if I copy and paste. Again, I think the key thing here to realize is if you have to copy and paste anything on AI, that's cheating. Relying solely on AI to interpret sections without reading. So if I now interpret a section and then I now copy that into my essay or thesis, that would be considered as cheating. Blindly listing suggested papers in your bibliography, as I mentioned earlier, and also just not engaging with the paper itself. If I'm going to go and do a Viva for my PhD and I haven't engaged with the papers that I've written about in my thesis, I'll be in a lot of trouble. So, definitely something to think about. Number three is using AI to write and proofread text. This is one that's a little bit more clear and a little bit more obvious. But again, let me show you what's assistance. This is PaperPal, a really great tool where you can have all of your research text, your essay, and then you can check your grammar, spelling, expand certain sections, ask for feedback, suggest alternative phrasing. Something I like about PaperPal is it's really ethical. From what I've kind of played with it and worked with them quite a bit. You can ask for a synonym and it will give you a synonym based on research papers. So it will say instead of this word, use this one, and this one is used by a lot of research papers in the literature. Now, what's cheating? I think this one's a little bit more clear. If you're rewriting entire sections without changing, without reviewing, without understanding anything, that's of course cheating. If you're including any examples verbatim, again, just copying and pasting, definitely. You're generating large portions of text without adding your own analysis. So on PayPal, you can select your text, then you can say expand or create or add to this or give me a counter argument. Of course, this would be cheating and plagiarism if you're just copying and pasting it. Now, number four, last one, is using AI for data analysis. This one is really cool. I was at a talk in Riyadh a couple of months ago, and I presented this tool, and every single person in the audience came to me later asking me for link, access, discount code. How can I use this? Tell me more. This is Julius. It's one of the only, I think there's probably one or two, but I'm pretty sure this is the main one, the main data analysis AI tool. You're able to clean data, you're able to run tests, create graphs, trends, correlations, and even just get information about your data through the tool. It's really cool. I think, why not? If you can save hours and hours and weeks of time doing the work that you'd be doing, something that you would have just done blindly, fine. But when is it cheating? When you're relying entirely on AI to clean your data without checking for any errors or inconsistency or biases. So, for example, if I have my raw data, I submit it into Julius, I tell it to clean it up, give me a graph, tell me the results, give me a t test hypothesis, and I just take that and I run with it, that would be considered as cheating. If I'm relying on AI to label my data, of course, that's something that I need to do myself, or presenting any AI results as definitive without verifying it already. So, when we're thinking about AI and learning and research and ethical use, I like to think about these three words: transparency, accountability, and integrity. These are three words that mean a lot in this space: being transparent, being accountable, and having integrity. So, number one is being transparent, making sure that you disclose any AI involvement. So, whether it's, for example, you're using AI to draft parts of a paper, analyze data, generate ideas, being transparent means that you ensure that others understand the role that AI has played in your work. And if you fail to disclose, it can lead to issues like plagiarism, albeit unintentional, or even just a lack of trust within the academic community itself. Number two is accountability, being able to validate AI generated outputs. And what does this mean? It means that you need to make sure that you're checking that all outputs generated by AI are verified and cross checked for accuracy, bias, and relevance. So ultimately, it's the user that is responsible for the quality of the work, not the tool. And it's really important because AI can produce errors. It's not perfect. It can produce misleading information, or it can even delete critical context. So when you're blindly relying on AI, you're undermining academic rigor. The third is integrity. We want to use AI as a support, not as a replacement. Using AI to enhance your human capabilities, but not to shortcut or to bypass effort or critical thinking. It should really complement your work rather than replacing core academic skills like analysis or argumentation or creativity. And if you're over relying on AI, you're undermining learning, and this can result in sort of superficial understanding of the subject. Now, I've got these three examples for researchers using AI, educators using AI, and students using AI. Three examples of responsible AI use and how you can kind of overcome them. So, here's a researcher using an AI tool to identify gaps in the literature, an educator using an AI tool to create a personalized lesson plan, and a student using AI to brainstorm for ideas. Here is how you can use it responsibly. The researcher should, get suggested papers, no problem, but then include an acknowledgement. An educator, no problem, get the recommendations, but then check and communicate to students about how these tools are helping them learn and encourage them to ask questions. And similarly, the student can also include a note acknowledging the AI's assistance. So, what is the future of academia? Well, I like to think about this question and not the other question. So, what can AI do for us? What can it do for us? What can AI do for us? That's the wrong question. We should be asking, what should we be doing with AI to serve the greater good of knowledge and society? What should we as humans be feeding, be training, be showing AI tools about what we know or about what we would like to create? What are some processes that we do on a daily basis that we'd love AI to help, speed up? For example, an AI tool that helps with data analysis. The AI tool didn't come up with that by itself. It hasn't got a mind like that. We said, can you provide a platform and generated and trained this platform that would be able to analyze data for us and showed it how to analyze data and what's good data and bad data and what to remove. And we trained it to then be able to serve the greater good for knowledge, not the other way around. And I think a lot of the time we think we ask the wrong question. What can AI do for us? AI is not doing anything for us. We are showing AI and providing AI with the information that can then come back in a circle and now help us. These are some things about the future, about how AI can help us in the future. Being a co-researcher, being able to help with peer review and publishing, frameworks need to be changed and kind of reviewed quite a lot. Personalized learning will probably be a big one as well, and just in general, I think knowledge will be democratized quite a lot because more people are going to be able to access it easier. What can we do as an academic community? Well, of course, we need to invest in training and education, collaborate across institutions, and encourage research across disciplines. Thank you for watching. These are my final thoughts for this session. AI is really powerful, but it needs to be balanced. We need to know how to be ethical. We need to be able to show students to foster inquiry-based learning and prepare them for the future. Remember that AI doesn't replace human intelligence, it amplifies it. I'd love for you to contact me. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment down below in the comment box. I'd also love to hear from you if you are an academic, if you're an educator, if you're a student. I run sessions for corporate, for professionals, for academics, universities, for students, individuals who are interested in learning more about how to integrate AI into their interfaces, and especially to do with productivity and education. How can we use AI tools to be able to find an ethical process? If you do want to learn more and book me for something like this, then please scan the QR code there and contact me. And thank you for listening and for watching. And I hope to see you again very soon.